I'm Dara Tomasson, and today's video is using rulers. And I'm actually going to show you how to turn two circular rulers, a 3-inch and a 4-inch, into an adorable ladybug. I'm super interested to hear your experience with rulers. I know for myself, when I first started using rulers, I was like, oh, it felt kind of like connect the dots, and I kind of felt guided and directed. I'm going to be doing many more videos on rulers, and actually I do a video every Wednesday. So if you like this kind of stuff and you want to learn more about free motion quilting on your long arm, consider subscribing, and there's a little bell, and if you press that, then it will ding when a new video comes. So I just wanted to invite you to do that. All right, so today's YouTube video is about using this 3- and 4-inch ruler, and I'm going to show you how I make a ladybug. Just last week, I had a lady who did a beautiful embroidered pillow, and it had these sweet little ladybugs on it. And I thought, how am I going to do that? I'm not so savvy on the whole computerized quilting thing. And so I was like drawing in my head, but to do a perfect circle, and actually to be honest, even with a ruler is really tricky. So remember I talked about using a ruler plate? Well, the ruler plate's going to help you keep that. But the first time I did this, you know when you do it like when you were a kid and you had a plate and you tried to draw a circle around it? It's a little bit tricky sometimes. So you might need to just take a little bit of time to get that right. So you take your 4-inch ruler, you're going to put it on your, wherever you want it on your fabric. So what I recommend to do with the circular ruler is that just really just take it slow, because you just want it, it's not a race, you just want to get it nice and clean. So when I do this, it's like I think about my circle as a clock face. And so I go from 12 till 6, and then I'm going to just adjust my hand. So I'm just going to bring my hand to the other side of the needle. Doesn't always happen perfect the first time, but hey, when it does, that's even better. Okay, so now we have this beautiful circle, and then I'm going to take my 3-inch ruler. I love that this ruler has it partitioned off like a face clock, and then it also gives me lines down here. So that gives me some options of spacing. So I'm going to make the head of the ladybug. And so the thing to remember when you're using a ruler is that you have your 1/4-inch foot here on your machine. And so my needle is in the center of that 1/4-inch foot. This is kind of a smaller little head for my ladybug, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up. So I'm just going to come up part way. I think I want, and then I'm going to just make my little antenna. And I'm just going to curl that little antenna. So I'm just going to use the ruler to follow along. And the nice thing about my stitching is I'm going to really work hard at going exactly on the same line as I stitched previously. Okay, so now I have the little head and I have this little antenna. And now I'm going to come back around and I'm going to create the little wings that create the ladybug. So if I want to make the wings that way, actually the other time I did a little different. So it's really fun. You can just experiment with that. So okay, so if you want to create the little polka dots on there, you just clip it off, bring it around, and you're just going to freehand. Okay, so instead of cutting off, what I do is I just remember when you're coming in and out of a starting and stopping a new line, you're just going to go back and forth a few times just to stabilize those stitches. And now I'm just going to move over, and I'm just going to come around and do another circle, and then afterwards I'll just snip those stitches. But I'm making sure that when I stop and start, I'm always reinforcing back and forth. If I really want my circles to show a little bit more, I'm going to go around that circle 2 or 3 times. Oh my goodness, how cute is that? So I'm just going to trim those threads and bring those off. So now I'm just going to come along the other side and I'm going to do the same thing. Now, last video, I talked about this quilt. This is a quilt that's going to be given to a family of a police officer who was killed in the line of duty. And folklore says that ladybugs bring good luck. So as I was contemplating, I was really excited to show you how to do a ladybug, and I thought, well, what the heck? Why wouldn't I just put a ladybug in the middle of his quilt or her quilt? And just to let you know a little bit about these rulers, these rulers are made by Silly Moon Quilting Company. They're a husband and wife team who actually make airplane repair parts, but they had all the tools to make these rulers. And so she sent me these rulers and asked if I could try them out and see what I think. I think they're lovely. There is a code, a link underneath, and there is a promo code even. You could get a deal and you could buy those there. I'm going to now show you this one's called Edgy 6, and this is a really great straight ruler, and I'm going to show you how to use that as I bring up these lines here. Okay, I'm ready to show you the Edgy 6, and so as you can see here, this is not the same length as this one, which isn't a problem. One of the things that I do if I am using a ruler and I don't want things to shift is that I will adjust my machine to have the needle down function. So if you don't want to have any shifting when you move your hand or do any of that kind of thing, then you just make an adjustment on your machine to have, whenever it stops, it's automatically going to go in the needle down position. And that way you can know that there won't be any shifting going on. Okay, the other thing is if you don't put the needle down position, you can see that when I was moving I was actually moving my ruler as well as as I was moving my head. And so I was actually like playing keep up, and so they were just kind of moving together. I know for myself, because I'm not used to having my needle down on my machine, if I put it down and that's not common for me, then it will come down and I won't expect it, and then I'll move my machine, and then you can imagine there could be some problems. So I just went nice and slow. I'm going to show you once again. A really classic ruler move is called the apple seed or apple core. I always forget which one it's called. We're just going to go with the apple design. I'm sure I'll find the technical term and I'll put it in the links. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up one of these ruler lines with how much of an apple or even orange peel, apple core. You tell me. So we're going to have it, I'm going to line it up on the second line. This way it's super consistent every time. So I'm going to line it up, and you see what I'm doing when I'm lining it up? I have my needle in the corner, and then I'm just going to bring it up. And then I'm just going to go, so you can decide if you want to bring it this way, and then back this way. So I'm going to bring this around. I'm actually going to line it up with the first line. Then I'm going to bring it over on this side. I line it up on the first line. Bring it right to the corner. Simply just turn it around. I line it back up on this side. Okay, so now we have that really nice shape. And so I'm just going to, once again, line it up on the blue. So you could decide if you wanted to have that contrasting thread or not. So you see how it blends really nicely with the white, and then it has that contrast with the blue. I think that it looks really pretty, and if I do that with all of them, this is going to be really consistent, and that's going to be a whole other design. That design with those lines are going to contrast. However, do we want it to come along this one and this one as well? So that's something to consider as you do this design. So now you can see that now I have my next direction. I'm just going to come down this way. Okay, so that's what you would do. And you just keep going around this block until you have that look. Now, I'll just keep going with this and you can just keep watching. But I really want to see, now one of the things that I recommend that you do is that you could actually print off some 9 patches on paper, and then I would encourage you to practice. How are you going to do this design without any backtracking? So I promise you there's a way to do it. You just need to practice in your mind. See what I'm doing? Isn't that amazing? This is called finger quilting. It's so much fun. It's called muscle memory. And then you just keep creating that design. So I just did that entire square without doing the inside lines. So I'm going to do that same thing with this design and just going all around the exterior part of your circle, of your 9 patch. Here I have it's all done, and I was able to do it all in the corners without lifting my my needle, which is super fun, super satisfying to figure that all out. If you feel like this part is too empty, you could go ahead and do those ones on either side, or you could simply use the ruler. Just as a pointer, remember that when you are aiming this part of your ruler, that you are putting it 1/4 inch away from the actual corner, because you want your needle to hit right at that corner. So part of that is making sure that when you line it up, you're doing a good job at eyeballing it on this end. And if you're super worried about it, all you need to do is just get a measuring tape and you can just measure that 1/4 inch. Also, if you're worried, before you start stitching, you could just move the head along that ruler, and then you can actually see for yourself if it's going to hit that edge. So then you come back again. So again, you see it's going to come off. So here I had to double cross here, but I just worked really hard at getting as close to the original line as possible. And here I have my own version of quilting of this one block. And so if I wanted to, throughout this quilt, I could just use this one as a standalone, or I could just do random blocks like this in various places. I could work on the using the swirls if I wanted. It's completely up to me, and it's up to you. So that is the beauty of quilting. You can just create whatever you want. And the purpose of this quilt is to show love and compassion to a family that's had a great loss, and for them to see that you've done some really fun stitching and taken the time to make the quilt and put the quilt together and to send them that quilt. The impact that you can have on people is it's immeasurable. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me for this video on using 2 circle rulers and 1 quick little small ruler. So we made a ladybug in this video. I talked to you how to make an orange peel. It is called an orange peel, and how to line up our rulers. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on rulers and different ways that we can use them. I, of course, would love to hear suggestions and things that you might be struggling with rulers, and I would love to help you out. So please leave a comment in the comments below, and I read every one of those, and I love to read them. It is so much fun for me to be in my studio in Nanaimo, Canada, knowing that people in Australia and Great Britain and wherever you may be is watching this, and we can build this wonderful quilting community. I love quilting so much, and I'm so excited to share it with others. And if I can serve you in this way by helping you, brings me a lot of joy. But I won't know if you don't leave a comment. So I would love to hear what you have to say. I'd also really love to see what you make. So if you've been playing around with rulers, just take a picture and be like, hey Dara, look at what I did. I would love to see that. I'd love to help you out. Follow me on Instagram, Dara Tomasson. My website is daratomasson.com. We just can't wait to see you.